Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Um, Let me see who was here first. Ingrid Sowers, thank you so much for being here first. By the way, I don't think we'll be here longer than an hour. And I got my slide up and ready, so we're good to go. Thank you again. Thank you to everyone with a membership. And also, oh, speaking of, well, this is a little different, but this is something that they just added to the. Oh, what is the timer? Okay, I better not fool with that. Uh, oh, they got a timer. I wonder what that's for. Interesting. Well, I'm going to set it for 2 hours. I'll host and question and answer session. Yeah, see, they added some stuff here. Uh, okay. So they have the super chat goal thing. I'm going to set it for 10. Okay, it says here, let me see. Okay. I'm going to put that up there. Oh, do I have to do something else? All right, let me see. Okay, I set it for 10. And then I think you have to put some kind of comment. Okay. How do we celebrate? The Island Lady. That's it. The Island Lady. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Well, you know what? It's good to have like stuff change a little bit just to keep you on your toes. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get on with it. Teddy Bongo, Compton Caligal, Sharon Skinner, Bunny Rose, Carolita Simone, Mary H. Legs, Olive Perry, and let's see, Violet BCH, Tanya Banton, Gail Tapscott, Lydia Washington. Did I say Mary H? Mary H. Big Mama, Marie Fabian, Truth Serum, and a whole bunch of other people. How about that? Okay, anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So, Confessions of a Female Founder, that starts very soon. I mean, you know what? It may be there already. Um, Prince Harry's security case back in court. And as ever, and maybe a couple of other things. So check it out. Prince Harry and Meghan in Britain. They left in 2020 and ultimately settled in sunny, wealthy enclave of Montecito. And you know what they always say about Montecito? There are no leaks in Montecito. Remember that. There are no leaks in Montecito. That's why they get on so well there, because there are no leaks. Is it Marls G? Thank you so much for joining us. All right, very cool. Madison, Maggie M. There are no leaks. So this is Hello Magazine. Apparently, they have an article, Harry's Crisis, the truth about the biggest battle yet. I do not believe that this is the biggest battle yet. There have been much bigger than this. I would say the ongoing, whatever the thing is with his brother, and of course, the Murdochs and the Lord Nappy Heads and a whole bunch of other people. He's had bigger battles. This thing with that Sophie person, um, Harry's work speaks for itself. His character speaks for itself, and there's no way in the world that this Sophie situation, such as it is going to change the trajectory of Harry's life and that of course, his wife and children and their other goals. This is just a terrible inconvenience, a bump in the road, and in at some point, it's not going to even be talked about anymore. So you won't have to worry about it for that much longer. But it's like I forget about the whole thing with the Florida court and um, Meghan's sister and such. You almost forget that ever happened. I don't even know how I recalled that recently, but I started thinking of some of the issues that seem to drag out and have come and gone, and yet they're still standing. So, part of being incredibly successful and being a household word to some people, a well recognized name in pop culture, is that people come after you. People come after you. You can do everything right, and people are still going to come after you. So um, you just have to know that that is unfortunately almost like paying some type of tax or duty or something like that. It is part of the landscape, and while you can't do anything to stop that, what you can do is take care of yourself and make sure that you're not getting pulled into it so much that you're losing sleep or overly anxious, because they got great representation. They're surrounded by some very talented people. So I have no doubt that they will weather this storm like they have so many others. So try not to worry you all so much. I was listening to Karen M earlier, and you gotta love Karen because Karen has such a good heart, and she really um takes on a lot of the pain for all of us, if you know what I mean. And and you can tell that these things become very emotional for her. And really, when I listen to Karen M, I feel like she speaks for all of us. She feels for all of us, if that's at all possible. But um, if um, if you found yourself in trouble and you need someone to advocate for you, you would want a Karen M in your corner. You would want a lot of the squatties in your corner. And you know what? They really are. They really are, because a lot of the information that has come out, I got to give Sophie some credit for one thing. She said the machine. She mentioned a machine. Harry and Meghan has no control over that. Harry and Meghan do not hit a switch and the Sussex squads um, activate and start marching. It's something that we do out of love and respect for them. Nobody tells us what to do. And as Tina used to say all the time, that ain't none of their business. What we do ain't none of their business. They don't bother with us. We don't bother with them. Now, if that's you don't understand what that means, stick around, you'll figure it out. But it's none of their business. It does not concern Harry and Meghan. So, Karen Williams, thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And of course, as always, thank you so much for being here. Okay, so let me see what else we got here. Well, let me take this one right here. If they were to try the titles fine. Oh, that's not for me, is it? That's for someone else? Okay, I'll get out of that one. Okay. Connie Balmer. Thank you for being here, Connie Balmer. Okay. The disorganized crafter. Bearing the goal by the royal family and British media is to sully his name so no charity in California or anywhere will work with him. So there isn't a repeat of the New York Climate Week. Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying there because New York Climate Week was a disaster. Um, that you're speaking of the one where William stayed home. He was supposed to go. And then, of course, the gatekeeper, Big Arm Becky, said, oh, he didn't, he said he wasn't going anyway. Remember that? But he was. And she tried to cover for him in real time. She's so desperate. She is so desperate, Big Arm Becky, where she will try to cover for him with a tweet or two. Um, and that, you guys, that just goes to show you they're watching us and they, what we think, what we say, and how we feel, it really does matter. And let me quote Tina again, that ain't none of Harry and Meghan's business. That ain't none of their business. We do what we do. There are no leaders around here. Harry and Meghan don't tell us what to do, and nobody that represents them tell us what to do. We do what we do. Okay, if there's anybody from the palace or somewhere listening, we do not. There is no mistress. There is no master of this house. There is no mistress or master of this house. There is a consciousness, and that's all. So anyway, uh, that. Well, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. So Prince Harry flies to UK, so they say, and just as his father, King Charles, departs country with Godzilla, Camilla, Camilla. That's what that is. I mean, that's who that is, Camilla. So yeah, so what? They left the country. I surely hope that that his father, Charles III, has not left the country just because he doesn't want to be around for his son, or has he been, you know, talking to people to, and when I say talking to he, I'm speaking of Charles, because you remember that last time, all of a sudden, Charles went to the court to thank everybody for doing their job. Just out of the blue, he goes to the court and thanks everybody for doing their job. I sure hope he hasn't been, monkeying around with something and then decided to leave the country so that he's nowhere around. I don't know what that means. I hope it's nothing too suspicious because, like I told you, you don't turn your back on that family. I do not trust Charles and I do not trust his eldest son. They are both some very dodgy people, and you can't trust them any further than you can throw them. So it is interesting that Charles decided to spend, he and Camilla decided to spend their anniversary. In case you didn't know this, they are spending their anniversary in Italy. And I suppose they may possibly have an audience with the Pope. one head of the church to the other, except for one head of the church is not married with um, someone that he had an adulterous affair with. That's the English head of church, not the Bishop of Rome. Yeah, that's the one from England. He's the one who brought his mistress to the throne. God help us. So yeah, let me go to the next one here. Now, Prince Harry's fight for police security could change royal protection laws. Prince Harry's returned to court this week in a battle that could reshape how the UK protects his most high profile figures. The Court of Appeals will hear his case on April 8th and 9th in London. At the center of the legal fight is whether Harry was treated unfairly when Rayback downgraded his security in 2020. Part of downgrading his security means that he's supposed to give them a whole lot of notice before he shows up. And that is not comfortable because, well, that makes me uncomfortable. And I'm sure it makes you uncomfortable because do we trust the Met Police? No, we do not. The Met Police have some, it's much like here in the United States, there are white supremacists in the ranks. It just is. And a lot of these police departments across the United States are filled with white supremacists. It's just a fact. The United States Army, which I believe 40%, no, I think it's a large number of the enlisted soldiers and sailors in the armed forces are of African descent, a very large number. And right now, they're actively trying to deplete those numbers, and they would love to replace them with like minded right wing MAGA people. That will take some time, but that is their ultimate goal, is to replace them. So anytime you have a police force or a military, some very hardcore individuals may be part of that. And so for that reason, um, this whole idea of giving all this notice, some things are better done quickly and decisively. And knowing Harry's nature, he would rather just show up and pull one of his little ninja moves where you don't even know that he's in town. Like that day he went to court and stepped out of the black taxi van. They thought he might show up, but they weren't sure. And if he did show up, they're looking for like this big police escort and everything. Harry steps out of a black taxi, much to their surprise. That makes sense. And why not give Harry the ability to just say, hey, I'm in town or I'm headed that way, and security is made available? They make it seem like it's such an inconvenience, but this is the son of the head of state, King Charles. And as far as I'm concerned, Charles should be paying for their security right now. He is the son of a head of state. I don't know that we've ever had a president in modern history where the children of the first family were not receiving Secret Service protection. And even after leaving office for an extended period of time, they may still have Secret Service protection. They assess the threat level. And, there's always people, well, if you can't target the main person, then you go after their family. That situation, just like the Obama children, they still have Secret Service protection. Now, that is something that is not guaranteed for life, But especially for a first lady, you're going to have Secret Service protection for an extended period of time. So why not provide protection for Harry, who not only has served in the military, but he is the son of the king, the head of state. It is very, very odd, unreasonable to expect for Harry to pay for his own security. Just because he stepped down from official royal duty, that does not matter. That should not matter. That is a huge faux pas. That is a very spiteful and very vengeful on Charles' side of things. It is. And if you don't understand the big deal about having official protection, Harry can bring security to the UK, but they cannot arm themselves. They do not have the assistance of logistics from the, God help us, the Met Police or the Royal Protection Officers. They don't have that available to them. And that is very unfair. Harry didn't choose to be born a member of that family. He just was. He is. And then let's consider Harry has offered to pay for his own security. He is willing to pay for it. And then, of course, because it's Harry, because of this need for vengeance, they say, oh no, our police are not for hire. And even that is untrue. But they depend on the court of public opinion, making sure that the public is not outraged enough to demand that Harry is given that option. Instead, they dispatch the Royal Rota, Royal reporters, friends, people who routinely dine with Camilla. You dispatch them to television, to the social media accounts, and make it seem as though Harry is asking the law enforcement, the Royal Protection Officers, to do something that is so out of line, as if he's trying to pimp them or something. He's not trying to pimp them. He's trying to pay them for adequate protection, which he should not have to do. He should not have had Frogmore taken away. They should have declared his children prince and princess as soon as the queen died. But they didn't. And of course, the security. I cannot say this enough. His father is the head of state, and Charles should pay. Charles should pay. I'm not saying that it should come out of the taxpayers' money. Charles had $3 million to buy the property next to his mistress turned wife. Property which I could almost guarantee you is going to be passed down to Camilla's children. I'm pretty sure that the son will get Camilla's house and the daughter is going to get this other property. And that way, they will be able to have the protection they need should Camilla go first, or it doesn't even matter. It is going to be a very safe space. And Charles is going to see to it, even if the royal protection does not pay for it. He's going to see to that. As always, he takes better care of someone else's child than his own children. Lex says, didn't that family get a 45 million pound pay raise today? Yeah. They have increased, what is it, the sovereign grant? They have increased that. But Charles also makes money, personal money for his pocket from the $1 billion duchy. He also has money from that $1 billion duchy. The Duchy of what? Lancaster, is it? And by the way, Lex, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member as well as a moderator. Hello, Ivy here. Hey, Heather Stroud, thank you so much for being here. Okay. So, yeah, it is very unfair. And it's almost as though they're waiting for the possibility or whatever of something happening. I hate to say the words, they're probably even hoping something happens. And then maybe at that point, but probably not. They're pretty stubborn. Right now, they have a very vocal, I'm not saying it's a majority, but they have a very vocal public on their side with this matter. There just has not been enough outrage. And even with that, they will dispatch their talking heads to try to shift people's opinion. It says here security was pulled before Prince Harry left royal duties. In a move that shocked many, Ravek stripped Prince Harry of his automatic police protection in February of 2020, weeks before he officially stepped back from royal duty. The committee claimed the change reflects his status, but photos from March 2020 show him wearing his Royal Marine uniform and attending official events. This contradicts the idea that he was no longer active. In his memoir, Spare, Harry revealed he didn't learn about the security cut from his family, but from his own bodyguards. His father wouldn't return his calls. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew kept taxpayer funded armed security for 3 more years, even after settling civil lawsuit related to that situation. Meghan faced serious threats and no protection. While Prince Harry's security was being stripped away, Meghan Sussex was also in danger. Niall Basu, the former head of counterterrorism at the Met Police, confirmed that Meghan faced disgusting and very real threats from far right extremists. These were not internet rumors or vague warnings, they were credible and serious. Yet the royal family did nothing to protect her. Instead of increasing security, they took it away. Meghan was told to keep going, to ignore it, to stay silent. But the threats were real. The palace knew it. Ravek still removed their protection with the full knowledge of what could happen. Harry and Meghan were left exposed with children to protect and no security net from the institution meant to keep them safe. Now, of course, this is the Feminagra article, and they even share that video of the counterterrorism Met police officer, Niall Basu. Prince Harry's team argues Ravek broke his own rules by failing to carry out a proper risk analysis instead of applying standard procedures. They created a separate ad hoc process just for him. And we all know why that happened. We all know Harry covered that in his book because he would not um, let go of his um protests about one of William's cronies and leaking information and such. Harry was told that if you don't drop this matter, there would be severe consequences. And Harry refused. And of course, we all know what followed. Harry's background as a combat veteran, and a public figure makes him a target. He has faced real threats, including a paparazzi car chase in New York in 2023. The government defends this decision despite the double standard. The Home Office insists it made the right call by scaling back Prince Harry's security. You know, the other thing is they just do not want Harry over there. They would rather Harry jump through hoops and given what I believe is a 45-day notification or a month notice before his scheduled arrival. And by then, they're leaking information here, there, and everywhere. Harry feels safer staying at a hotel than staying at one of the royal residences. Can you blame him? Yeah. Can you blame him? Okay. However, it must be argued the decision was dangerous and hypocritical. When Ravek removed Harry's security in 2020, Archie was just 6 months old. The Sussexes were left exposed, even as the UK spent over £250 million a year protecting other royals. At the same time, Prince Andrew kept his security despite the scandal and the cost of that £12 million settlement, the money he paid to somebody he never met for something he didn't do. For many, it shows how the establishment turned on Harry. Let me see. Other high profile figures still receive security. And of course, the UK government reportedly spent nearly £1 million policing Taylor Swift's Eras tour in London. Now, they've made the excuse that there had, okay, if you all remember, Taylor Swift canceled a concert because of very credible threats. Well, if you're going to provide security for her because of very credible threats, and of course, the fact that Taylor Swift gave a lot of high ranking people in the government, in the police force, tickets so that they and their children can go to the concert. Let's not forget that. That right there is also part of it. So, a huge conflict of interest and some very dodgy wheeling and dealing. And she gets the royal protection. She literally gets the royal treatment. And she didn't have to pay for it. Whereas Harry says, okay, send me the bill. Even Dr. Shola commented. Dr. Shola says if Taylor Swift gets police protection escort, rightly so, because of terror threats, so should Harry because of the real threat of domestic terrorism and death threats he and Meghan and the kids face in UK. They don't. We know why. Okay? Even Dr. Shola spoke about that. It is very credible, and they really are obligated, they are obliged to provide protection, and they choose not to provide protection. Okay. Um, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share this with you. Give me just a second. Okay. This was kind of buried in the article, and I want to share it with you. So I don't know who this lady is, but um, she's making sense, and I like her. Okay. Okay. Give me just a second here, and it is coming up. I tell you, Feminagra does an amazing job covering the Sussexes. They do an amazing job. I'm so impressed with them. Oh boy. Oh, there it is right there. Give me just a second to set this up. If you just joined us, do not forget to hit the like button. Hit that like button. This is how we keep the lights on. Hit the like button. Help the algorithm find some of those haters so that we can give them a headache. Okay, are you ready? Yes, I am.
Richie,
I think they should.
do you think there's any circumstances in which the British taxpayer would pay for their security
I think they should pay for the security.
themselves?
No. I think the British taxpayer should pay for the security of Harry and Meghan and their family, as they do with former ministers. Listen, Harry spent 20 years on the front line in Afghanistan through many tours of duty. He has done great service just on the basis of that. And I just hate to think what he must be thinking now, having used his instinct to try and defend our country. Now he has his much loved wife and his baby under the type of media scrutiny that they're suffering. Just look at what's in the papers today, 17, 18 pages. He as a man must be really wanting to defend them, and I understand that completely. And I also understand that a young couple really ought to be allowed to make their own decisions about what their future should be. And if they decide they want to go to Canada, of course, they must always be protected.
Do you think there's any circumstances in which the British taxpayer?
Okay, so obviously that is dated, but considering that Harry and Meghan live in the United States, their official residence is in Montecito, where there are no leaks. Considering that, providing the highest level of security, whether it's last minute or a year in advance preparation, is not only the right thing to do, it's also very necessary. And morally, I don't know why they would deny him that level of security. If you're going to do something like that, you should act out of common sense, not out of anger. Just like they say, if you're going to discipline a child, do it because you love the child. Don't do it because you're angry at the child. There's a very big difference. Oh, Lydia Washington, we did that yesterday, actually. Elaine Malcolm's birthday. At the end of yesterday, we, you know, yeah, it was yesterday we did that. But thank you for the super chat. Or am I imagining that? I thought we did. It was Elaine Malcolm, right? So yeah, I think we did that yesterday. Yeah, just toward the end of the video. But thank you again. Right. All right. Let me get back. The end of the article. What Harry wants from the appeal. Prince Harry is not asking for special treatment. He is asking for fairness. He wants a process that treats him the same as others with similar risk. His lawyer believes the current setup is not just flawed, it puts his family in danger. Harry has said publicly that he wants to bring Archie and Lily back to the UK, but cannot do so unless their safety is guaranteed. This case is not just about security, it's about accountability and public trust. The royal family has always operated under its own rules, but times are changing. If the court sides with Harry, it would force the UK to rethink how it protects not only royals, but all high profile figures. If the losses, the message may be clear. There is no place for him in the UK unless he follows royal protocol. This case is not only about fairness, it is about whether birthright and public service will still matter when safety is on the line. The court ruling will not just affect one man, it will shape the future of the royal security and reveal just how much influence the monarchy still holds behind closed doors. Keep following for full coverage of Prince Harry's security appeal. We'll be tracking every update, fact checking claims, and breaking down what this case could mean for royal accountability. So, you guys, make sure you're following Feminegra. Okay. There you go. Now, let's get on to With Love, Meghan, as ever, and Confessions of a Female Founder. I didn't realize it until I saw all of these side by side. Meghan is going to be very, very busy this year. Well, she is very busy already. And of course, when Harry is busy, Meghan is left out in the cold. When Meghan is busy, Harry is left out in the cold. It is the usual tabloid media playbook, is to tell you how the Sussexes feel about each other, how they feel about their parents, how they feel about their children, how they feel about the rest of the royal family, and so on and so on. That is what they do. They tell you what they think, as though they have firsthand knowledge, as though the royal Rhoda is the last people they speak to before they go to bed at night. So, anyways, excuse me. Let me see here. Oh, no worries, no worries. I just, I look at so many names every day. Sometimes I get a little confused. So I just wanted to make sure that I had that right. But it is not a problem, and we know you appreciate it, and we're glad to share your birthday with you. All right. So the Duchess of Sussex shares how she hires top talent. The founder took a strategic approach to building the As Ever team. And you know what? From taking a look at those, you know how they sent out those emails, I guess it was, to people who they needed to make refunds and such. That was very professional. And also, the great teamwork is uh, easy to see with those, I guess you can call them press boxes, VIP boxes, those boxes that are filled with the As Ever products. Although, I didn't notice the honey was not part of it. They must have really have had a limited amount of honey. They obviously had a limited amount of honey because they're not gifting the honey along with those boxes. Um, that is something that takes time, the honey. So that is going to take time. We don't know where they source it from, but that is going to take time. And so for those squatties who were fortunate enough to get them, let me just say, if you were able to order it, you got something that none of those VIPs received. So, or not just VIPs, but close friends of Meghan, even they did not receive it because it just was not available. So, um, that kind of makes me feel better. Not that I felt terribly bad about it, but it does make me feel better knowing that they were very fair about it. So, um, okay. Is that working? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. This particular one here, where are we at with that? No, that's not it. Yes, this is ink. This is from ink. And it's just, I guess it's just a couple of paragraphs here. It says, when I talk to founders of fast growing startups and ask what is the biggest challenge of managing that surge, their answer that is, regardless of the company stage, industry, or location, is nearly always the same: hiring. How do you find the right employee to build a strong team? So, when I spoke to Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, about launching her new home and lifestyle business, as ever, I asked her the same question. The Los Angeles based company has less than 10 employees, but it also benefits from the added reach and support of Netflix's consumer packaged good team. The streamer is a strategic investor in as ever. With ambitions to build as ever for the long term, Meghan says she has been surrounding herself with a lot of strong women when hiring and building out her team as a founder. She prioritized shared values above all else, but warns other entrepreneurs not to fall into the trap of thinking shared values mean consistent agreement. Like minded is not the same as like values, says Meghan. It's very, very important to have people that are going to help you stress test the decisions that you're making and not always be in agreement so you can see it through a different point of view. So that is the very wise words of the Duchess of Sussex. Hey, Stephen Black, thank you so much for being here. And that is a very cool photo. Well, they what do you call it? They edited that photo to put see how in the background you have the products. I think that is very cool. Oh, that was it right there. Okay. So Meghan Markle's new venture, Insight into Confessions of a Female Founder podcast. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is gearing up to make her mark in the world yet again, only this time she's doing things her way with a podcast. Although she did receive her claim to fame on the TV series Suits, she is best known for marrying Prince Harry in 2018. Well, yeah, that is how most people got to know her. That's how I got to know her. Women in business are showing up and joining together to give insight on their highs and lows and how they've overcome countless obstacles. With this platform, Meghan is providing a platform for women to share and grow together. Now is the time to take note and make dreams become reality. Confessions of a Female Founder podcast. Meghan took to her Instagram of over 2.6 million followers to announce that her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder with Limonada Media, is slated to be released Tuesday, April 8th, and is an 8-episode show. Meghan also added that the conversations she's been having with amazing women have been about turning dreams into realities and exploring how these women have taken small ideas and have amassed fruitful businesses. So I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? This is going to be a big hit because there are so many women entrepreneurs. Isn't it statistically true that most new business in the United States is founded by women? A lot of these starters are coming from women. I think so. But I think there's like an entrepreneurial spirit in this country that is probably more than ever in history because it's just so much more easy to do things because you don't really have to handle product. You can sell products virtually. There are people who never see the product. They just make up a design or they buy here and sell there. It's incredible what you can do. And then there are people that uh, go to thrift stores, and it's like you can be an antique dealer or good old fashioned secondhand shop, junk dealer, and you can do all of this without having to rent a storefront or a warehouse or something like that. You can, just bring stuff in and send stuff out. If you got a spare room, a garage, or a kitchen table, you can be an entrepreneur. That is just incredible. Absolutely amazing. I tell you, these modern times. Now, Kelly McGee Zafin, you also know her as Heart Mom from the Instagram. Well, there you can see mother and daughter Sunday shooting for something pretty magical for, what is that, Petite Plum? Yeah, but of course we had to make some crepes with our favorite as ever official crepe mix and jam. I'm no professional, but boy, did we nail it in the end, and it was delicious. So yes, mother and daughter has made crepes. And let's take a look at it. Oh, there it is. There are the crepes. Very cool. I wonder if she put some lemon zest in it. And of course, there goes the edible flowers. Oh, look at the crepe pan. Check out that crepe pan. It's I've seen the cast iron and the non-stick, but I don't think I've ever seen one that had the enamel, or is it porcelain enamel? I don't think I've ever seen one like that before. I wonder who makes that. Anyway, that is pretty clever. That is pretty clever. I don't know what she's putting a pinch of in that other bowl, but should be pretty good. Yes, that is very important. That is very important. Women lifting up other women, women supporting other women. And you know what they say? A tide lifts every boat, or something like that. If you can educate women or whatever in the community, the whole community rises. There's so many ways that it just makes sense to help women find their voice and help them find their passion in work or business. Yeah, even Tony Blair gets security. And what about Liz Truss? Liz Truss, who did not outlast Cabbage, gets a lifelong pension. She gets a lifelong pension. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Yasmin Page, because I just want you to know the privilege that comes with being a former president. If you never work again in your life, you are going to get the same salary every year for the rest of your life. Not to mention the Secret Service protection. And you can also have a presidential office. Part of your benefit package, you are able to establish an office of your choice wherever you want it, and you can hire staff, and the government pays for it. So there's a lot of benefits that come with being a former president. Not enough that, you can hang out with corporate CEOs and outspend them, but it is very generous. It is very, very generous. So there you go. Yeah, and it was a lame excuse. Thank you for your comment. Did Serena Williams get her as ever? Yeah, she did. Serena Williams has received her as ever. Look at Serena flying in her private jet. Look at Serena flying in her private jet, as well she should. Now, I know that is going to upset a lot of MAGA Brexit people. That's going to upset a lot of right-wing commentators. Oh, they're going to be completely outraged by it. What is she doing living like that? How does she get to, those kind of privileges? Hard work, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. She worked for it. And she's minding her business. Okay, so I am going to share that video with you. Meghan has been posting like crazy. She's been sharing all types of people receiving their as ever. As a matter of fact, today seems like the day where people who did the what do you call it? You get your order within 7 to 10 days or something like that, meaning that you don't pay the higher price for delivery. It comes by the United States Post Office, I believe. Anyway, if you opt for that, which takes longer than the other way, then most people should have received their orders today. So let me find Dearest Serena and share that with you. Oh, yeah, that is it. Okay, Serena, I got you.
Best surprise of the day as ever. I'm so excited for this. Olympia, you like this?
What?
Look. It's jam. Oh my gosh, crepes. Oh, my tea. You know I love my tea. The one you drink and the one I serve. Thanks.
Yes, that is Serena Williams as ever gift box. Now, what about that plane? What about that plane? Well, her skin looks beautiful. Very even complexion, beautiful. Um, let's see. Got the snack bar back there. Serena got her big fleece blanket. Y'all know we get cold. Got her big fleece blanket. I ain't mad. Okay. Oh man, it must be nice to travel like that. That must be really nice. Has anyone here ever flown on one of those private jets? Uh, put your hand up if you have. Let us know what that was like. Did you have your Bentley drop you off at the airport, take you right out there to the steps? Did you feel like a big baller? No, not me, Connie Balmer. I've never had the privilege. I've flown on some of those like American Eagle, those little puddle jumpers, and you kind of feel like you're on a private plane because they're so small. Um, I forget how many. I think those jets hold about what 40, 50 people, something like that. But they're not so big, and there's only one seat on each side. Oh no, is it two on one side and one on the other? But yeah, they're so small. The first time I ever flew on one of those planes, I was going to New York, and I was just like, this is the smallest plane I've ever been on. So you kind of get that feeling because it's so small. Stephen Black, I bet you have. Oh, I bet you have. You don't have to be shy. I am more than certain Stephen Black has flown on one of those planes. Let me see who else I can out. Who else has flown on one of those? Is Church Nellie here? I'm sure Church Nellie has come to and realized she was on somebody's jet. Yeah, right, right. I'm sure Church Nellie has come to and just like, whose plane is this? Yep, that sounds about right. Okay, nobody's fessing up, huh? All right. Well, don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there. Daniel Martin. I thought he got his the other day, but apparently Daniel received something in advance, and then he got the gift box. So that's nice that. But he and Meghan, they're so close. Whatever he gets, he probably deserves. So, but yeah, I mean, just the other day we saw him holding up those keepsake raspberry preserves, he and his partner, and now we see he has the whole gift box. Now, as for the honey, well, he was there and made some, so they even got the beeswax candles too. So that won't be such a big surprise for him. He probably gets some every so often anyway, because of his connection to our Duchess. And oh, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one. Roy Choi. Yes. Look at there. From one LA kid to another, my friend. Meghan did not forget. From one LA kid to another. If you guys remember from the Netflix With Love Meghan, when she and Roy Choi were cooking, it seemed like they went to the same restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And they were just like really celebrating growing up in LA and definitely recognizing the influence of Korean culture on the Los Angeles area. So that was very cool. So I know you're wondering, what is he doing with his fingers, right? I didn't want to like do the video, but I took some screenshots. That is a chef kiss. He actually was doing a mwah, chef kiss. And he brought his hand up to the camera and kind of threw his fingers open. So if you're wondering what he's doing there, that was a chef kiss. Now, guess whose box that is? Guess whose box that is? That is mine. You know, I thought for certain that this was going to go to my rented mailbox, right? And so I figured, well, I won't get it today. I'll just go over there later this week and get it. And then I realized that the billing address and the shipping address were in the wrong place. So they delivered it here to my home. And so there you go. I'd already opened it, but then I said, oh, I got to take a picture. And of course, I put some black masking tape. Well, I put some duct tape over my address, my real address. So don't even bother trying to zoom in because you won't be able to see it. And so when you open up the box, this is how you are greeted. Enjoy, Meghan. How cool is that? Then take a look there. You flip the card. It says, as ever. And of course, I carefully peeled away the tissue paper and the sticker, which I plan to keep forever. And then I opened that up. And then, of course, there's some of those packing peanuts. And there's the box of shortbread cookie mix. And beneath that was the crepe mix. So the shortbread cookie mix, it does come with the flour sprinkles. So even though I wasn't able to get that little can, I do have that. So I set it up there on the table so you can see exactly how everything is there. And then, of course, flipping it again, enjoy. Yes, so that's all I have from my order is the mix for the crepes and the mix for the cookies. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And as always, thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Yes, that's what you do. You wait until your parent is in the hospital and then you just go to their house and start going through. Doesn't everybody do that? That's what everybody is supposed to do. All right, so there you go. Now check this out. Roy Anika tweeted today, the king and the queen consort have arrived in Rome for a 4-day state visit to Italy, escorted into, what is that? Is it Campino? Is it Campino? By Italian F-35 fighter jets. Charles and Camilla are staying at Villa Wolanski and will spend time in Rome and, is it Ravenna, celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary in Rome on Wednesday. Wow. You could use that money to hire some nurses for the NHS. Oh, is that the state Bentley? You mean to tell me they don't have any reliable transportation in Italy? It was necessary to ship the state Bentley in advance? Yeah. And that's not the first time. They also shipped the state Bentley to Paris. I can't remember if they did that in Germany. But yeah, they shipped the state Bentley. How about that? That big gas guzzling state Bentley was put on probably a military transport and shipped in advance of his arrival. Well, well, well. Interesting. And of course, in tow was the Queen Consort. And as you know, even though I may have my differences with them, I am always incredibly respectful of the king and the queen consort. As far as I'm concerned, we don't have to agree, but it is very necessary to show them the proper respect because they do represent a nation of 66 million people. So and I must say, when you get away from the filter of the Royal Rota, they look very different in person. Once you get away from the filter of the Royal Rota, you start to realize that all that glitters is not gold. But with the filter of the Royal Rota, then you can see the real Camilla and Chucky. Yeah, so this is filtered, unfiltered. Filtered, unfiltered. See the difference? Yeah, me too. Yes, his emotional support chicken. Charles and his emotional support chicken. And it looks like the government is trusting William and Kate to actually it's not an official royal visit, is it? Princess Kate, also known as Kate Middleton, and Prince William, also known as Willie Leaks, to prepare for overseas trip with 3 kids. I wonder. The Prince of Wales has not missed the past 4 Earthshot Prize ceremonies. So apparently, I guess they're all going to Brazil. They found a nice young photo of them too. This photo has got to be pretty old. But yeah, they're going to Brazil. And I guess they're taking their kids. I doubt it, though. They're probably not. Well, they do have a question mark. Overseas trip without 3 kids? I wonder. Nah, they won't take the children. They won't. They'll leave the children with the nannies. And then, of course, because it's an environmental thing, Kate will probably get her, I guess, green dress out again so that she can do her imitation of a windsock. I still am puzzled by the fact that Kate walks with the back of her hands forward. Why does she do that? That is so distracting. When you walk, your hands should be at your side. Your thumbs should kind of go forward and your pinky should go backwards, right? That looks natural. Maybe with like a little quarter turn inward with your thumb. That's natural. But Kate, she walks with the back of her hands facing ahead of her. Isn't that weird? I tell you, she's tall, but she never would have made it as a runway model. She never would have made it doing runway. The only modeling she'll ever do in life was that see-through dress. That's it. It will never happen again. Nobody would ever even, I mean, no, no, no. She couldn't have made it. She's about as poised and elegant as a hippo on roller skates. She's about as poised and elegant as a elephant in tap shoes. She just couldn't do it. What a bizarre lady. From below the balcony, I only just started listening to this, but monarchy is fake history. Well, the maybe 5 minutes of this I listened to, they were already comparing the royal family to a bunch of gangsters. So I'm going to finish that later. As a matter of fact, why don't I give you all the links so that you can watch it too? But you probably won't have time today because of the limonada. The Meghan's going to be doing her thing. So yeah, I hopefully there's no disparaging words about the Sussexes on this. I haven't had a chance to vet it yet, but I'm going to share the link with you. This is for the Republic. You can see in the bottom right corner, there's Graham Smith, who loves to troll the royal family. Okay. Yeah, there's no grace in her walk whatsoever. None. None. Not a very elegant young lady. Very awkward. And let us not forget this one. Let us not forget that, where she was photographed with her toes going in like that. Still no explanation about that, but that was even one of the royal rota. I think it was oh gosh, it was is her name? No, what is her name? Anyway, one of the royal rota was asking the question. Pretty much she was saying, how does someone so beautiful as Kate, how is it she can make clothes look so cheap or dumpy or something like that? Good question. Very good question. But I think they're gearing up. They must have something big coming up for Kate because she has been too quiet for too long. So there must be something that they're doing. And I suppose it is going to involve something very hostess like or something. It's got to be something to combat this positive image of Meghan just being herself. So they'll come up with something. And I'm sure it's going to involve children, which is a good question. Are they going to take their children to Brazil? I mean, they could fly them separately. They don't have to all be on the same plane. So there would be no worry of a constitutional crisis. You know what I mean? But that would be very interesting if all the family went on vacation. Well, look, Will and Kate go out of the country all the time with the children. And this would just be another trip with the children. So I would not count it out. Not yet. Oh yeah, here's another guy. I think he's a chef, and he decided to try the single pan pasta, one pan pasta.
viral Meghan Markle pasta. Today we're making the very controversial, very viral Meghan Markle pasta. I don't think it's very controversial at all. I think it's rather nice. So to begin this one pot wonder, we're going to slice tomatoes in half like this and add it to some olive oil in a pan with some garlic and salt. Sweat that down for 3 or 4 minutes until soft. Then we're going to add our spaghetti directly to the pan and we're going to cook that in some water. Once it's cooked, we're going to add basil and spinach with some grated parmesan. Plate it up immediately and add that tomato, basil, spinach. Grate some extra parmesan, give it a twirl, and there you go. This one pot wonder genuinely is lovely. I don't think it's very controversial at all. I think it's rather nice. Today we're making...
There you go. In 36 seconds, he says, I don't think it's controversial at all. I think it's rather nice. And of course, he used tomato and basil and spinach. Not controversial at all. So there you go. It is very good, and it's light. It doesn't make you feel, overstuffed, and it tastes very clean. It's not greasy or anything like that. Although, you could drizzle some olive oil on it if you just like the taste of it. I eat a lot of food with some olives on the side. And so I had some olives on the side of mine, and eventually I just kind of cut them up and just threw them on in there. You know what I mean? Just mixed it in. But yeah, very good. As ever, I love this. Someone did I guess it's an AI illustration of Meghan. AI forgot to give her a utensil of some sort, or maybe she's sprinkling some salt or something like that. But that is very cool. I like that. And I'm almost done, you guys. I'm almost done. We're not going to be here all night. This guy right here said something very interesting. Now, unfortunately, I don't know where to find him. So if you guys have seen him before, let me know. I don't know. I just, let me see here. He was on, somebody posted this on Twitter, but I don't think they put a name with it. But he said some pretty interesting stuff. Oh boy. Now, how do I find him? Because I don't know where I put him. Oh boy, it's going to be difficult sharing that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Well, I don't see his name, but anyway, you guys, I am going to close with this. Oh, by the way, I get my Le Creuset tomorrow, my pinch bowls. My pinch bowl, my set of 6 pinch bowls, that is going to be my introduction to Le Creuset. And I'll let you know how it goes. I'll show you some pictures of it. But I'm excited. My Le Creuset is en route. All right, so let's see what he had to say. It's one of those life lessons, something we can all do with, a life lesson.
That's not how life works. You can't be nasty and needy. You don't get to mistreat people and then expect there to be no consequences. It's natural for people to protect themselves from people who try to hurt them. See, decency is the price you pay for access. Access to help, access to support, access to consideration. If you're going to have a bad attitude or mishandle your words and mistreat people, then you better be ready to handle life on your own. Most folks aren't signing up to help somebody who hurts them. Like, how are you bold enough to be reckless with your conduct, but then soft enough to expect support? Make that make sense. You can't bruise your fist on my chin and then ask me for the Band-Aid. That's not how this works. That's not how life works. So you got to choose. Either be measured with your mouth, careful with your character, and considerate with your actions, or be ornery and walk alone. Like, if you're out here burning bridges, don't act surprised when nobody shows up with a boat. Favor flows where honor goes. So treat people with consideration, or they might treat you the way you treat them. You can't be nasty and needy. You don't get to mistreat people and then expect there to be no consequences. It's natural for people to protect themselves from people who try to hurt them. See, decency is the price you pay for access. Access to help, access to support, access to consideration. If you're going to have a bad attitude or mishandle your words and mistreat people, then you better be ready to handle life on your own. Most folks aren't signing up to help somebody who hurts them. Like, how are you bold enough to be reckless with your conduct, but then soft enough to expect support? Make that make sense. You can't bruise your fist on my chin and then ask me for the Band-Aid. That's not how this works. That's not how life works. So you got to choose. Either be measured with your mouth, careful with your character, and considerate with your actions, or be ornery and walk alone. Like, if you're out here burning bridges, don't act surprised when nobody shows up with a boat. Favor flows where honor goes. So treat people with consideration, or they might treat you the way you treat them.
My. I love that. And I'm just like, you know what? I hope somebody can share that with that very ornery, cruel, unpleasant person. So I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to try to find out who he is because I would love to hear some more life lessons from him. Yes, Connie Bomber, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, you guys, love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And thank you, moderators, for keeping this the safe space that it has been for a long time. And tomorrow, I get my Le Creuset pinch bowls. Yes, 6 multicolor pinch bowls. I am so excited. I haven't been this excited since Oprah's farewell season. Okay. See you next time.